Hi, I'm Chad Stanfield with InMage Systems. Today we'll talk about how to set up protection of a VMware virtual machine using the InMage vContinuum technology. From within your vSphere environment, you'll simply select the machines that you wish to protect. We'll take those machines and we'll copy the metadata of those machines, and we'll replicate that information down to the vSphere environment on the target location. Those machines will be turned off after they are created, and they will not be active. There is a vContinuum target machine there that acts as a master target server where we attach all the storage from the servers of which you are protecting. At this point, the day-to-day operations is to collect the differential sync information and replicate it down to that master target server. Now we'll go through the VMware protection process now using the InMage vContinuum software. You simply launch the vContinuum software, and you'll notice that it communicates into the InMage control server automatically, and we can simply get the plans that are available for protection. Once those plans are done, you'll notice that they are listed out here, the plans that are available for protection and are being protected now. What we want to do here is create new protection. At this point, I simply enter the information and the credentials for the vSphere server. Then I have it queried to get the details from that vSphere environment and show me the list of servers available to protect. Now that it has presented me with the list of available servers that we can protect from our vSphere environment, I simply need to put a check mark next to the server that I wish to protect. The server that I'm going to protect in this demonstration today will be this Windows 2008 source server. I simply select a check mark next to that. It'll provide information about the server. I choose Next, and then I need to provide it with the master target server that I want to replicate to. I simply select that master target server, and I have to give it some credentials. Once it verifies that it has access into that master target server, we hit Next. At this point, we can distribute the InMage data tap for that protection if needed. To distribute that tap, I'd simply select these checkboxes, and I would select the Install Agents. If the data tap is already installed, you can simply select Next. On this screen, we give it some protection details and some information we would like to use for our protection setup. First, we can set our process server. If there are more than one process server in the environment, you simply select the one you would like to use. You may then enter a value for the retention size that you would like. The retention drive is already selected for you. Then you can also enter the number of days of retention that you would like to have in there. We're also setting a consistency interval, which means every 10 minutes we're going to take a consistency point of that application that's running on that server. Select the target data store. This is the data store on the target or remote VM where it'll create the VMs to be protected. Now I can select Next. Here I can change some information about the virtual machine for protection. If I do wish to change the IP address, I can simply select the change button here and it'll provide me with the ability to reset the IP address. I can also select CPU memory information, and I can also enter a display name as well. I'll just simply enter a DR prefix and select Next. At this point, I simply run a readiness check to ensure that everything is working and is available for us. Once the readiness check is complete, you'll notice that all the results are successful. We simply give it a name to create a new plan, or we can select an existing plan name. Here I'll select the existing plan name of VM Demo. Now I select Protect. At this time, it's just simply establishing the information that's needed in order to protect that virtual machine on the remote site. I'm going to bring up the vCenter application now, and I want you to pay attention to the lower portion of the vCenter information, where we will soon see a virtual machine be created for that Windows 2008 demo that we just set up. You can see down below there is some tasks happening now to that master target server as it creates that machine. And you can see here we are creating that machine as we speak. It does have the dr_ prefix that I did ask it to do. If you remember, we do create that machine, and then we are attaching the storage to the master target server here, so that that master target server can then collect the differential changes throughout the day for your machine that's being protected. That's all that is needed to be accomplished here to set up the protection. Everything will happen automatically behind the scenes, and this protection and block level replication of that virtual machine will then be established, and you will be in a protected state once all those steps are done. To monitor the actual protection of the job once everything is set up, we will use the InMage Web UI. On the Monitor tab, we can see that we have a VM demo here. I'll simply select on that health plan. And what we'll notice is we have a couple of jobs being set up and running right now that will actually configure and establish those replication pairs. Here we can see the replication jobs now starting for the server that we've protected here. It'll go through the setup process until it hits differential sync, in which case we will be fully protected, and the application consistency jobs will continue to run at that point. You can see now that we are in full differential sync and fully protected. At this time, we will continue to send the block level differential changes down to that master target server until the point in time when a recovery is necessary.